They can't keep it together, folks. I'm telling you, they can't keep the narrative straight. The shooting in Uvalde, Texas, this thing has fallen apart faster than a bad business deal. And you'll have to pardon the background noise. It's a beautiful day outside. We've got kids playing, people yapping out in front of my apartment, turning on their faucet every 5 seconds, driving up here every 2 minutes. Being a real pain in the ass. Thank you for letting me vent, by the way. Always seems they do that whenever I'm trying to work on a YouTube video. But it says here, Texas official, police made quote-unquote wrong decision, should have breached classroom sooner, somebody just slammed their door. Thought no children at risk. And they have a sub-headline, official kids to 911 during siege, please send the police. Now, they don't give an author here, this is from the AP, but they do have a photo of these kids in front of 3 memorials, 3 crosses. Uvalde, Texas, nearly 20 officers stood in a hallway outside of the classrooms during this week's attack on a Texas elementary school for more than 45 minutes before agents, I thought it was 40 minutes. Weren't we told there was a 40-minute law, now it's changed to 45 minutes? They can't keep it together. I know that's only 5 minutes, but still. Before agents used a master key to open a door and confront a gunman, authorities said Friday. Well, wait a minute. I thought that this gunman entered through an unlocked door. They can't keep it together. The on-site commander believed the gunman, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, was barricaded in a classroom at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde during Tuesday's attack and that the children were not at risk. Well, were the children at risk or were they not at risk? Texas Department of Public Safety Director Stephen McCraw said at a news conference, quote, he was convinced at the time that there was no more threat to the children and that the subject was barricaded and that they had time to organize to get into the classroom, McCraw said. They're probably changing the script. Of course, it was not the right decision. It was the wrong decision, he said. A little backpedaling here. McCraw said U.S. Border Patrol agents eventually used a master key. Hold on a minute. Why weren't the police, the local SWAT team, going in there and using this master key to unlock this door? Where they confronted and killed Ramos, who killed 19 students and 2 teachers. McCraw said there was a barrage of gunfire shortly after Ramos entered the classroom. How romantic. Where they killed Ramos, but that the shots were sporadic for much of the 48 minutes while officers waited outside the hallway. He said investigators do not know if or how many children died during those 48 minutes. Throughout the attack, teachers and children repeatedly called 911 asking for help, including a girl who pleaded, quote, please send the police now, McCraw said. Questions have mounted over the amount of time it took officers to enter the school to confront the gunman, because, again, they're probably changing the script. When nothing adds up, and you don't have a private citizen who has a concealed weapon who could have possibly subdued or stopped this suspect, and nobody reports that he slammed his truck into a ditch, they keep changing this timeline. Yeah, there's some serious questions here. I think it's all BS at that point, because you can't keep it together. Getting back to the article. It was 11:28. My throat feels better, by the way. It was 11:28 a.m. Tuesday when Ramos's Ford pickup slammed into a ditch behind the low-slung Texas school, and the driver jumped out carrying an AR-15 style rifle. Now, I didn't think about this before, but this seems very orchestrated. And if you see pictures of this, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of damage. In fact, it didn't seem like a very deep ditch where he apparently had this accident. Slammed his Ford pickup into this ditch. So it seems very orchestrated. And how convenient, it's right outside the school. 12 minutes after that, authorities say the 18-year-old Ramos entered the halls of the Robb Elementary School and found his way to a fourth-grade classroom where he killed 19 students and 2 teachers in a still unexplained spasm of violence. Spasm of violence. Gotta love the language. But it wasn't until 12:58 p.m. that law enforcement radio chatter said Ramos had been killed and the siege was over. That's a 90-minute period. They confirmed that here. What happened in those 90 minutes in a working-class neighborhood near the edge of the town of Uvalde has fueled mounting public anger and scrutiny over law enforcement's response to Tuesday's rampage. Quote, they said they rushed in, said Javier Cazares, whose fourth-grade daughter, Jacqueline Cazares, was killed in the attack, and who raced to the school as the massacre unfolded. We didn't see that. And now there's footage out there from the Gateway Pundit that apparently these teachers were, not teachers, but parents were being kept at bay, not being given information by the authorities of what was going on inside the school. But some of this looked like crisis acting, if you ask me. Friday's update on the attack's timeline came only after authorities declined to explain why officers had not been able to stop the shooters sooner, with Victor Escalon, regional director for the Texas Department of Public Safety, telling reporters Thursday that he had, quote, taken all those questions into consideration. Oh, I bet. But was not ready to answer them. Of course he wasn't, because he was probably being told by the FBI and the ATF what to say. Guaranteed. The ATF and the FBI should not be getting involved in a local incident. Let local authorities handle it. Somebody just slammed something against their wall. Hey, I'm just trying to keep it real here. The Thursday briefing called by Texas safety officials to clarify the timeline of the attack provided bits of previously unknown information, but by that time it had ended, and it added to the troubling questions surrounding the attack, including about the time it took police to reach the scene and confront the gunman, and the apparent failure to lock a school door he entered. After 2 days of providing often conflicting information, investigators said that a school district police officer was not inside the school when Ramos arrived, and contrary to their previous reports, the officer had not confronted Ramos outside the building. Why wasn't security present? No security present on campus. You didn't have a private citizen with a concealed weapon who could have possibly stopped this suspect. Shot him. And said they sketched out a timeline notable for, I love that, sketched out a timeline, notable for unexplained delays by law enforcement. Because they were trying to CYA, that's why. After crashing his truck, Ramos fired on 2 people coming out of a nearby funeral home. That's a little bizarre, Escalon said. He then entered the school, quote, unobstructed. Now, why would he be randomly shooting at people he doesn't know when his main target is the school? People who are not on this campus. Why would he be shooting at them? Okay, so he could be a crazy loon. A loner. Crazy loon with a gun. I'll give you that. But that just doesn't make any sense. If his main target was the school. So he enters the school through a quote-unquote unobstructed entryway, unlocked door at about 11:40 a.m. But the first police officers did not arrive on the scene until 12 minutes after the crash and did not enter the school to pursue the shooter until 4 minutes after that. Inside, they were driven back by gunfire from Ramos and took cover, Escalon said. And as somebody mentioned yesterday in this previous Breitbart article, there were one of Mr. Ramos and how many officers on scene? And none of them could get this guy? Now, and I'll say it again, I understand in a hostage situation, delicate situation like this, you want to have the fewest casualties possible. But a 40-minute lull? The gunman was still inside at 12:10 p.m. when the first U.S. Marshal Service deputies arrived. Why are the U.S. Marshals there? Again, local authorities should be taking care of this. So you have the U.S. Marshals on the scene. They had raced to the school from nearly 70 miles away. Once again, the big bad government coming in to save the day. In the border town of Del Rio, the agency said in a tweet Friday. The crisis came to an end after a group of Border Patrol tactical officers entered the school at 12:45 p.m., said Texas Department of Public Safety spokesperson Travis, let me pronounce his last name here, Considine, Considine, I believe that's how you pronounce it. They engaged in a shootout with the gunman, once again, how romantic, who was holed up in the 4th grade classroom moments before 1 p.m. He was dead. Isn't that always the case? What's the term they use? They neutralized the suspect. He's been neutralized. Escalon said that during that time, the officers called for backup, negotiators, and tactical teams while evacuating students and teachers. Ken Trump, president of the, no relation, I take it here, to Donald Trump, president of the consulting firm National School Safety and Security Services, said the length of the timeline raised questions. Quote, based on best practices, it's very difficult to understand why there were any types of delays, particularly when you get into reports of 40 minutes and up of going in to neutralize that shooter. Many other details of the case and the response remain murky. I wonder why. The motive for the massacre, the nation's deadliest school shooting since Newtown, Connecticut, almost a decade ago, Sandy Hook, remained under investigation, with authorities saying Ramos had no known criminal or mental health history. But I bet you it's going to come out here pretty soon that there was an incident where he may have had a brush-in with the law. Guaranteed. Guaranteed it's going to come out. During the siege, frustrated onlookers urged police officers to charge into the school, according to witnesses. Quote, go in there, a woman shouted at the officers soon after the attack began, said Juan Carranza, that's Carranza, 24, who watched the scene from outside a house across the street. Carranza said the officers should have entered the school sooner. Quote, there were more of them, there was just one of him. Exactly. And on it goes with this article. Don't want to take too much time because this is a lengthy article here at Breitbart. Either we had a power play here, too many fingers in the pie, or this is all BS. And at this point, given everything that we know, I'm leaning towards a big pile of BS. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also find me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, or follow me at Cultural Confederacy on Twitter. So the title of this article here, well, there's two here. When you go to Breitbart's page, it says, Texas official, police made wrong decision. It's like 3 headlines in one. Should have breached classroom sooner, thought no children at risk. And then when you go into that, it's going to pop up this headline, official kids to 911 during siege, please send the police. So Culture Confederacy saying, peace out, stay safe, everybody. God bless this great country, and I'll catch you next time.